Broadside Game with me, Zug. So, I've just released the heavy hitter build, but I thought I'd also release something that we're still tinkering with, but it is quite amusing. So, this build isn't fully 100% guaranteed tested to the max, but it is amusing, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. This is the Bodyguard build. So, what we're using the Bully Club with damage, mobility, finesse, and penetration, lol, and defense being our dump stat. Perk-wise, we're going with Flak and Carapace, Blessings, Skull Crusher, and Thunderous. This is going to be a quick build, by the way, as the last one was quite in depth, and this is more of a fun thing to play around with. We are using the Kickback as our ranged weapon, but you can go for the Rumbler if you want. Both are very good. Damage, reload, mobility, and stopping power as our main modifiers, and range is our dump. Perk-wise, we're going with Unyielding and Flak, Blessings, Full Bore, and Blaze Away. Now, Curios, exactly the same as I always use. 1 max health, 2 toughness, with 5% toughness, 12% stamina regeneration, and 20% damage resistance to gunners. And then the 2 toughness are twinned as always, with 5% toughness, 4% combat ability regeneration, and 20% damage resistance to gunners. Now, if you don't want to use the Kickback, as I said, you can use the Rumbler, and here is how I usually set mine out. With mobility being the dump, blast damage, ammo, blast radius, and penetration, lol, blast being the main modifiers, perks, Carapace Unyielding, Blessings, Adhesive Charge, and Shrapnel. Now for the build. We're going to be taking heavyweight, and if anyone ever tells you not to take heavyweight, you just report them to the authorities, because they are committing a crime. 30% damage against bulwarks, crushers, plague ogryns, and reapers, and also receive plus 30% damage reduction against the same. We're taking Linchpin plus 50% coherency toughness regeneration into Furious. For each enemy you hit during the same melee attack, you gain 2.5% damage on your next melee attack. Into toughness boost, and we're taking the Frag Bomb. As I said, you can take any of these, it's just your personal preference. I just prefer the Frag Bomb. Into toughness damage reduction, we're picking up Payback Time for 15% damage for 5 seconds after a successful dodge or being hit by an attack. Into Soften Them Up, enemies damaged by your melee attack take 15% more damage for 5 seconds. Into Focused Fighter, 4% damage resistance from melee attacks on successful melee attack, stacking 5 times, stacks removed upon taking a melee attack. Into toughness damage reduction, and then we're taking Loyal Protector. As I said, this is the Bodyguard build. Taunt enemies within 12 meters, making them attack only you for 15 seconds. The effect repeats after 3 seconds and after 6 seconds. Base cooldown is 45 seconds. And then we're taking No Pain or Loyal Protector, and its repeats replenish 10% toughness and an additional 0.5% toughness every 1 second per, affected up to 10% for 3 seconds. And we're taking Valuable Distraction. Enemies affected by Loyal Protector take 25% base damage from all sources. If you want, you can take Go Again. I just think Vulnerable Distraction is the better choice at the moment. And then into a Rending Boost, and we're taking Beat Them Back for 15% melee damage and successful heavy melee attack. Into Crunch, up to 15% damage bonus and 30% impact bonus to your charged melee attacks based on the charge time. I have been getting a lot of reports that at fully charged, this is full charge, Crunch is actually doing 30% damage, not 15%. I can't verify that myself, but I've had lots of reports, so do with that information what you will. We're also taking Strike True for melee weak spot strength. Into Slam, plus 25% impact bonus on melee attacks. Stagger an enemy with a melee attack, replenishes 5% stamina for 1 second. And we're also taking Brutish Strength, which gives us 4 stacks of brittleness on push. And of course, Batter. Inflict 2 stacks of bleed on melee hit, increase to 4 on heavy melee hit. This is where a lot of our defense is coming from. Into melee damage boost, and then we're taking toughness boost, and we're taking Bruiser. 100% ability cooldown regeneration for 3 seconds after you or an ally in coherency kill an elite enemy. We're not taking Attention Seeker because we have Loyal Protector, and also we can't really afford to lose the point. Basically, if you want Attention Seeker, you have to drop either Crunch or you have to drop Payback Time. And you're losing a lot of damage by doing that. I know Attention Seeker is quite useful, but we do also have the Taunt with Loyal Protector, with a ridiculously increased regeneration time to use the ability. So, I mean, you can, if you want to dump out a point somewhere. I mean, I suppose you could dump out Frenzied Blows or Dominate, but again, you're losing quite a lot of damage. So it's up to you. Now, back over to the heavy hitter tree. We have the melee damage boost for 10% melee damage, into Delight and Destruction, which is giving us a lot of defense, and this is plus 8% damage resistance per bleeding enemy in melee range, stacking 4 times. Frenzied Blows, which gives us plus 2.5% melee attack speed on chained hit for 5 seconds, stacking 5 times. Dominate, which is giving us 10% rending on elite kill. Heavy Hitter, plus 3% melee damage for 7.5 seconds on melee attack hit, stacking 8 times, gain 2 stacks on heavy attack hit. Into Just Getting Started, which is giving us 10% attack speed at 8 stacks. And Great Cleave, which is giving us plus 15% cleave for each stack, which is kind of wild. Yes, there are a few other bits and bobs in this tree which I would have liked to have taken, like Unstoppable, Attention Seeker, but as I said, this is a build in the throes of being crafted. So if you want to test something new out that isn't quite there yet, feel free to use this. It's a very funny build to use. It works quite well in the new Nightmares and Vision mode, which I completely forgot what it is. Mortis Engine something or other. I mean, the Bully Club is still ridiculous. We're adding lots of bleeds, lots of brittleness. And the attack speed on this thing is just silly. Especially now that we can actually utilize the light attacks. And of course, it's always funny slapping stuff. And the slap does actually do quite a lot of damage these days. They have improved upon it. So, Loyal Protector is going to be what we're using to basically help control the battle, help our team, and also regenerate quite a bit of toughness. But as this is not a true tank spec going into Feel No Pain and all that, you are going to have to be careful of how you're playing. It's going to take a little bit more getting used to than, say, an Indomitable build where it gives you quite a lot of mobility and the ability to get out of a sticky situation if you find yourself in one. But I used this build quite a lot last night, and it is hilarious. You can also use Paul the Power Maul with this build, and it works quite well. It's not quite as good as the Bully Club, but they've improved upon it massively, especially with the ability to activate it and not get immediately screwed over. So if you want to try out Paul the Power Maul, this is how I would build it, with damage, crowd control, power output, and penetration, at max. Defense being the dump. Perk-wise, Flak and Maniac, or you can go with Flak and Carapace. That also works quite well. Otto, please don't chew my headphones. I will be very sad if you eat through these. Blessings-wise, Opportunist and Skull Crusher. Or you can use a Spade. I still don't rate them very high. But don't take my word for it on this. It works, but it's not anywhere near kind of super hardcore meta, because I don't like them, so I don't use them very much. But there you go, folks. That is the melee-focused, damaging bodyguard build. You can control the battlefield, you can smack stuff, and you can slap stuff, which I think is the biggest draw to this build. Who doesn't like slapping things? And of course, the kickback is just useful in any situation. It's a goddamn shotgun that can snipe. What's not to like? Anyway, that is a quick build for you guys. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please do like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, take it easy. I'll see you later.